Have you guys ever wondered what Mike Trout might look like in a New York Yankees uniform, wearing the pinstripes, playing in Yankee Stadium for the most popular team in baseball? Well, back in 2009, the Yankees actually had the pick originally that could have been used on Mike Trout, but instead the Angels got that pick, and that's exactly what we're going to talk about today. All of the players that were drafted by the wrong team. So if you guys are confused, make sure that you sit tight, leave a like on this video because it's going to be a bumpy ride, but a fun ride, and I'm going to explain to you how all of these dudes should have been on other teams. It's going to be a lot of fun. Hope you guys enjoy. And without further ado, let's talk about some baseball. The first player on today's video that was drafted by the wrong team is Jackie Bradley Jr. Now, back in 2011, the Boston Red Sox had a guy named Adrian Beltre. Do you guys remember his one-year stint with the Red Sox? It kind of resurrected his career. He was really good for the Dodgers, then he kind of had some down seasons, and then he really picked it up for the Red Sox. Well, he actually left the Red Sox and went to the Texas Rangers. So what happens when you have a superstar free agent leave? That team gets a compensation pick from the team that signs the free agent. So what happened in 2011 is Beltre left the Red Sox and he went to the Texas Rangers. So the Rangers had to give a compensation pick back to the Red Sox, and in turn they selected Jackie Bradley Jr. Now, I will say that Beltre had a much better career, but he never won a World Series with the Texas Rangers, and Jackie Bradley Jr. was the ALCS MVP in 2018. So I would say that both teams got a lot out of both players. They both had some pretty good seasons. As we can see, Beltre from 2011 to 2018, almost 200 home runs, an 865 combined OPS, 4 top 10 MVP finishes. So he was amazing for the Texas Rangers, and I think that they got a whole lot more out of him than the Red Sox have gotten Jackie Bradley Jr. He's been pretty good with 91 home runs, a 727 OPS. He's been an elite defender with the plus arm out in center field, and again, he won that MVP when the Red Sox won the 2018 World Series, so they could not have done that without him. I think that both teams won in certain aspects, but definitely the Rangers, they got the better player. Moving on over to 2007, this is a name that hasn't really been in the conversation for better players in baseball for quite some time. Todd Frazier should have been drafted by the Giants in 2007, but instead they signed a 35-year-old Rich Aurilia. So if we take a look at Aurelia's stats, he played in just under 300 games from 2007 to 2009, and he racked up a paltry 687 OPS. What did Todd Frazier do, who should have been on the Giants? He finished third in Rookie of the Year. He won a home run derby in 2015 after hitting 35 home runs that same season. So considering Rich Aurilia was old and pretty much out of the league after 2009, I would say the Reds definitely got the better end of the deal because the Giants signed Rich Aurilia. They had to give a pick to the Reds, and with that pick, the Reds took Todd Frazier. So essentially, like I've been saying, he was drafted to the wrong team. And here we go, Mike Trout in 2009. He should have been a member of the New York Yankees. Now, let me explain exactly why. It's the same story as Jackie Bradley Jr. and Todd Frazier. The Yankees signed a free agent. Who was that? Mark Teixeira exploded in 2009. He led the American League in home runs. I believe he had 39 bombs, 122 RBIs, which was also number 1 in the American League, and he finished with a 19.3 WAR after 8 seasons with the New York Yankees. I also want to add in the fact that Mark Teixeira won a World Series in 2009, so you would think that the Yankees won this. They got Mark Teixeira. They had to give away a compensatory pick to the Angels. They're not going to get anyone special. Yeah, probably the most special player that we've seen since Mickey Mantle or Willie Mays or Ken Griffey Jr. Mike Trout is a once-in-a-lifetime, once-in-a-generation player. If we take a look at his stats, what has he done since being in the league? Has he passed up Mark Teixeira? Because again, Mark Teixeira had a pretty much 20 WAR with the Yankees. Well, Mike Trout has the most WAR in a career before turning 28 years old, passing Ty Cobb, probably the best talent in the history of Major League Baseball, because as of right now, he hasn't been, popped for steroids. He's playing completely clean right now. The only thing is he has 12 playoff at-bats, so his generational talent has not resulted in playoff success because the Angels, they can't put enough talent around him. He can't carry a team all by himself. So I think the Yankees, they actually kind of came out with a win. They won the World Series the same year that Mark Teixeira signed with them, and then the Angels, they've been pretty much mediocre ever since Mike Trout came up and has been legendary for them. So I want you guys to let me know in the comment section down below, do you think the Yankees actually would rather have Mark Teixeira and that World Series win, or do you think that they would rather have Mike Trout for the next 10 years? I'm curious, because I think the Yankees with Mike Trout would have won 3, 4, 5 World Series. Honestly, that's how good Mike Trout is, and the Yankees have been really good to the point where adding that one single player could have been the difference, especially against the Astros back in 2017. Could you imagine if the Yankees had him back? Oh yeah, it would have been game over. Mike Trout would have swept that series easily. Now we're gonna go ahead and stay with the Yankees for yet another player that was drafted by the wrong team, and this one really cuts deep because Aaron Judge, just like Mike Trout, in my opinion, is a once-in-a-lifetime player, because who can have plus defense out in right field, a plus arm, and have the capabilities to hit 50 home runs in a single season? He should have been a member of the Indians back in 2013, but instead, the Indians had to give a compensatory pick to the Yankees because the Indians took away Nick Swisher from the Yankees. So we signed Nick Swisher, and he gave us a decent 2013 season in which he had 22 home runs and a 763 OPS, so he was very average. But then in 2014, the following season, he ended it with a 608 OPS. He got paid $15 million to do so. And then Aaron Judge, he goes through the minors with the Yankees. He comes up. He should have won MVP in 2017. And then again, 2018 he's injured, 2019 he's injured, but he's still putting up otherworldly numbers both with the stick and in the outfield. It just really sucks to say that we could have had Francisco Lindor, Jose Ramirez, Aaron Judge all on the same team, Carlos Santana raking. I mean, honestly, if you think about it, considering Aaron Judge could have been on the team, maybe a call-up in 2016 when the Indians went to the World Series. Maybe instead of Michael Martinez, the Indians chose to call up Aaron Judge, and who knows what he could have done as a member of the tribe in 2016 when we were playing the Cubs. So it's just really sad to say that Aaron Judge, he was drafted to the wrong team because we signed Nick frickin' Swisher. Good God. Nicholas Castellanos should have been drafted by the Astros in 2010, but instead the Astros chose to sign Brandon Lyon, who had a pretty decent career, I guess, and he had a 3.12 ERA his first season with the Astros. But then after that, in 2011, he had an 11.48 ERA, and he was retired by 2014. What did the Tigers get in return? They got a young prospect in Nick Castellanos. He was a walking 20 home run, 800 plus OPS hitter. Now the only thing is, his career WAR is not very high because he has been terrible defensively. So in all honesty, the Astros got a couple good seasons from Brandon Lyon. The Tigers, they were able to use Nicholas Castellanos for a couple seasons. Not really much happened, and then they traded him away for a few prospects from the Cubs. So honestly, this was just one I wanted to throw out there, that Brandon Lyon signed with the Astros, and that prevented the Astros from having yet another pristine bat in their lineup. Could you imagine the Astros with Nicholas Castellanos in their lineup? That's not fair, especially when they're banging on trash cans. Had to throw that in there. Back in 2005, Jacoby Ellsbury could have been a member of the LA Angels, but instead, the Angels decided to sign a guy named Orlando Cabrera. Do you guys remember that name? He was pretty much a mainstay for the Angels, although he wasn't very elite. He was an above, I would say he was an average baseball player, but there was no way that they could have predicted that Jacoby Ellsbury was going to be as good as he was for the Boston Red Sox. So remember, the Red Sox, they had Orlando Cabrera, and then he signed with the Angels, so the Angels had to give a pick to the Red Sox, and they chose Jacoby Ellsbury, who erupted in 2011 with 32 home runs, 39 stolen bases, a 928 OPS, and then also the cherry on top, he won a Gold Glove. So in his career with the Boston Red Sox, which is about 7, maybe 6.5 seasons collectively, he racked up a 21.3 WAR, again, just for the Red Sox alone. Orlando Cabrera in his entire career, which was 15 seasons, was 21.3 WAR. So yeah, Jacoby Ellsbury was light years better than Orlando Cabrera. So it sucks that he had to go to the Red Sox, but fortunately for them, they got a great player. Lance Lynn should have never gone to the St. Louis Cardinals. Now, I know that he is now a member of the Rangers, and he's played for the Twins and a couple different teams, the Yankees the last couple seasons, but originally, Lance Lynn should have gone to the Tampa Bay Rays, and he would have been super useful over the last decade, especially with all the Rays and their playoff success. He could have been massive in the postseason, but instead, the Rays decided to sign 38-year-old Troy Percival. Now, don't get me wrong, Percival had a great career up until that point, but he was 38 years old, so the Rays signed Percival, and they had to send a compensation pick to the Cardinals, and in turn, the Cardinals selected young prospect Lance Lynn, and in a couple seasons, he turned out to be one of the better and most underappreciated pitchers in the National League from 2011 to 2017, including missing 2016 with Tommy John. He won 72 games and had a 3.38 ERA over the course of his tenure with the Cardinals, and he was one of my favorite pitchers because he was always so passionate. Every time that he gave up a base hit, it would seem like his head was going to explode. He wanted to dominate you every single pitch, and he was a walking 200 innings, 150 to 180 strikeout guy. I really like Lance Lynn. I wish that he was a member of the Indians, but instead he's still on the Rangers. He had a pretty good 2019, and yeah, so if you're a Rays fan, that sucks. 38-year-old Troy Percival or a pretty solid 6-year career from Lance Lynn. That's tough. And last but not least, a guy that retired a few years ago, Torii Hunter. He should have never been on the Minnesota Twins. So back in 1993, they had a guy named John Smiley. I don't know if he was related to Drew Smiley, but he's a lefty. Back in 1993, the Twins, they were able to sign young prospect Torii Hunter because John Smiley left and went to the Cincinnati Reds. What did Smiley do for the Reds? He had one All-Star appearance, so he was pretty good. But then he was traded to Cleveland in 1997 and retired after that year. So they really only got 3 or 4 seasons and really one good season out of John Smiley. What did Torii Hunter do? He became one of the better defenders that this game has ever seen in center field, and he was a walking 20 home runs, 20 stolen bases. He had a pretty good arm in center field as well, and he robbed Barry Bonds in the All-Star game. Easily one of my favorite players of the last 20 seasons. So if you guys enjoyed today's video, that is going to do it. Leave a like if you want to see more informative, just random videos where we talk about past, draft picks or past players that should have been on different teams for various different reasons. I had a lot of fun doing today's video and doing all the research behind the scenes, so I appreciate you guys stopping by. Do not forget to subscribe because we talk about baseball every single day. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out. If you're bored and want to watch some more content, 2 videos are on the screen right now. And also, do not forget to follow me over on Twitch. We talk about baseball. We play MLB The Show. It's a great time. I'll catch you guys there. Have a wonderful day.